Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Dear Masuma, the show that tries to answer any of your deepest concerns and worries during this holy month of Muharram. My name is Sana Araji and I'm with the one and only Masuma Jaffar. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Welcome back again.
Thank you.
For answering all of our wonderful viewers' questions.
Thank you.
And inshallah you continue to do so today.
Inshallah.
We have a question from a viewer, anonymous viewer in Canada, who says, I am currently pregnant and my baby is due during the first 10 days of Muharram. Is this a bad thing, and what beneficial acts can I do during this holy month that would have a good effect on my baby?
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, it cannot be a bad thing because it's from God. We don't control when someone is born or when someone dies.
Yeah.
We can plan to a certain amount, but in the end it's in Allah's hands, and anything that's in Allah's hands cannot be bad. So that's something to remember. Also to remember that it's a grievous month, but it's not an unlucky month. There's a difference. So when we look at it from a perspective of unlucky, then you think, okay, something bad's going to happen. But when it's a grievous month, it means it's full of grief because of the events of Karbala that happened. So it's actually a spiritually uplifting month.
Okay.
If you think about it from our perspective as adults, Muharram actually really brings up our spirituality. So it's actually a month of spiritual energy because of what happened in that time.
Yeah.
So I would actually say it's a good month for a child to be born because it's a month of spiritual energy, a month of blessing, a month of barakah, a month of learning, a month of growth, a month in which when the child grows up, they can connect to. It's very special for a child to be told why they've been named what they've been named, and this is why there's so much emphasis on giving a child a good name. So if my child is named after Imam Hussein alayhi salam or Bibi Zainab alayhi salam, and told that you were named this name because you were born around the time when this tragedy happened, it would really help them to connect to that holy personality. I know of people who've had children who have been born in Muharram, who say that their children just tend to connect to that holy personality, to connect to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, to connect to Salah, to connect to ziyarah and things like that, without having the parents having to push so much because there's something inside them. So this may be the blessing of the month that comes from having a child born in this month. Also, we're told, and we know from a medical perspective, that whatever we do while we're pregnant has an effect on our child. So imagine, what are you doing during Muharram?
Whilst you're pregnant, yeah.
You're going to majalis after majalis where you're actually connecting to Imam Hussein alayhi salam.
SubhanAllah, yeah.
How beautiful is that for your child to be getting that spiritual energy?
So true, actually, when you look at it in that way, isn't it?
Yeah. Because it's like if it wasn't Muharram, if it was just a normal month, you'd be at home doing normal things. Here you're actually taking time out of your life. And if it's in the first 10 days, you're actually every single morning and evening going to majalis, and probably even in the afternoon, at the weekends and things like that. You're going to majalis where, you're being reminded of God, of the Holy Prophet, of the Ahlul Bayt, and you're emotionally connecting through grieving for them, and then, connecting to the rest of the ummah through this collective grieving of doing matam and everything, and hopefully then, reflecting on what you've heard and becoming a better person from that. And, all the things that we would normally do, like maybe watching TV and going out and everything, is decreased in this month because, the focus is so different. So the focus on your child will be so different.
So it's actually much more beneficial, really.
Yeah.
Even the barakah of the food of the majalis is being eaten by you, which is then going to the baby. So you can imagine everything that the baby's absorbing.
It's all connected around Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It's beautiful. It's like you're saying, most of the things that you'll be eating will be, Fatiha, which has been given to you by another Muslim, by someone who's out of love of Imam Hussein alayhi salam.
Exactly.
So imagine the blessing of that food that enters your system, and then your child's system, your baby's system.
Yeah, I guess people always, like, they think of it as, okay, it's Muharram, that means if I'm having a baby, that's a bad thing. You know, how could I have a baby? Everybody's sad, you know, everyone is grieving during this month. But when you've explained it like that, you kind of see it on the other, like in another way.
So I think that the problem is we look at things in a very sort of superficial way. So having a baby is a good thing. We should be happy, and everyone's sad in Muharram. So I can't be happy when I have my baby. People can't congratulate me. People won't come and see my baby. You know, my baby will lose out on all the attention. So we're looking at all the superficial things. And yes, okay, you know what? People may not come. And you may lose out on the, you know, the congratulations and everything. But I'm sure those family members who hear about you having a child may not congratulate you, may not come and see you, but will do a dua for you, which is even more powerful. Because a lot of the times when we go out of our way to go and see someone, or go out of our way to, you know, fulfill a right, like by buying them a present or doing something, we feel like we've done our duty, so then the dua doesn't come.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like when we go to majalis, we don't feel like we need to do any more because we've done our duty. But the dua is so much more powerful. I would rather people gave my child dua than a present.
Yeah,
because I can buy the present.
Yeah.
I can't get the duas from other people for my child. The present I can buy. It's not a big deal.
I think it's all of the kind of the social media and the emphasis on baby showers and like you're saying, it's about the material world. And I think that's what maybe is different, perhaps during Ramadan. Sorry, not during Ramadan, during Muharram. We don't have that, whereas if it was perhaps not in the holy month of Muharram, you know, family would come, they would shower you with gifts, you know, different cultures have different kind of ways of dealing with a woman who's just had a baby, and also a lot of the time they stay with parents for 40 days, and it's like there's certain rituals that are done by different types of communities. So I think it may be just all of that might be different kind of for a woman who's going to have a baby.
I mean, culturally it may not fall into the way that it's meant to, but again, there may be growth in that. And then, you know, there's a lot of things that we can think about why it didn't happen this way, and what is the learning for me. And you know, it's like this whole COVID the pandemic that we find ourselves in. It's like there's been people who've had babies and not been able to fly to their parents, you know, to their hometowns where their parents live and everything. And again, where's the growth in that? What are you learning from that? And they're coping. And yes, it may be difficult, but you know what? There is some sort of growth in that, and there is some sort of beauty in that. And then there are others who've stayed with their parents for, you know, and once they've gone in, they've not been able to leave because, again, of the pandemic, they can't then move around and thing. So again, there's been a lot of growth in that. I think it's reminding ourselves that whatever situation I find myself in, Allah's always there.
SubhanAllah.
And if I remember Allah's always there, then I know that He's got my back. Then I know, even if the situation that I find myself is not directly from God, it may be because of something that other people have done, I know that God will not abandon me. He'll give me the tools to be able to grow from it. And whatever situation it is, I can grow and move closer to Allah in that situation.
Yeah, inshallah.
So it's recognizing that, and I think something like having a baby is so beautiful. It's like whenever that baby is born, there is a beauty and there's a growth in it, and it's recognizing that. But I think if you have a child that's born in Muharram, I think that's amazing. I think that's such a beautiful blessing from God. Because it's like, you know, it's something that allows you to connect to Imam Hussein, allows your child to connect to Imam Hussein, to the Ziyarat of Ashura. It'll be something that will be special in that child for the rest of his life. And it's like, I know a lot of people say, oh, they'll never be able to celebrate their birthday because it'll always be in Muharram. But they get so much more, where they, you know, okay, their celebration could be going to Ziyarah instead of a material gift, you know. It's like, so it's how you decide to celebrate. You don't have to celebrate through, you know, giving material presents. You could actually give a Ziyarah to your child.
Exactly, that's true, and if you start them from a young age, they'll just get used to that. Like rewards that are more beneficial in the eyes of spiritual in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So,
and also the fact that we you know, follow the solar calendar here. You know, it's like you can still celebrate their birthday because that will constantly change. So if you're looking at it, you know, from not the lunar calendar, but it will constantly change. So okay, their birthday may be in Muharram, but when you're looking at, you know, whether it falls in January or March or whatever, that will not always be in Muharram.
Yeah.
So they can still have that as well, because obviously they're children. They want to have the fun and they want to invite their friends and everything. So you can always have that as well. But getting them to recognise that they have this as well, so they're really lucky that they've got the best of both worlds in a way.
It's true, because my daughter was born during, like I'd probably say, during the first 10 days of Muharram. But like you're saying, we don't celebrate her Arabic birthday, although she's aware of it, and we tell her and we explain we named you because of when you were born. But she still gets the benefits of celebrating, because you're like you're saying, it changes the calendar, so she's able to celebrate with her family and friends. So it's not something that is a huge problem. It's not, you know, it doesn't affect them that much.
And it's also, I think, when you sort of get them to celebrate their English birthday as such, and it falls in like the month of Muharram, then actually not celebrating it that year, or celebrating it before, or waiting till after Arabain to celebrate it, actually shows them that this is more value than your birthday. You know, I love you like crazy, and your birthday is very, very important to me, but when it comes to the Ahlul Bayt, they take preference even over you. So it's getting them to recognise what is important. It's really, really, you know, beneficial, because a lot of the times parents will say, oh, what's the big deal, you know, they're children, and what's wrong with celebrating it? There isn't anything wrong. It's not something that's wajib or haram or anything like that. It's just a lot of the times we make decisions which subconsciously teach our children things. So it's making them recognise that, you know what, the Ahlul Bayt take preference over everything. So it's like, even when we tell our children that, you know, we're not going to majalis because it's going to be late and then you won't be able to wake up for school. Subconsciously, you're telling your child school is more important than the majlis. Or if you tell your child, oh, okay, you've got an exam tomorrow, so we will skip majlis today. Again, subconsciously, what you've told your child is your exam or your school or whatever is more important, because you've got an exam the next day. But you know what? They had the calendar. They knew they had the exam. You knew they had the exam. You should have, you know, factored that in and made sure they'd done the work beforehand. So you're not skipping majlis.
I guess it's what you prioritise, isn't it? Like I must say, I at times with my children, because they're still quite young, I wouldn't go in the evening, because not so much because of the exams or anything, but because they wouldn't wake up in the morning for school. Although I wouldn't tell them that in my mind, and that probably is not the right way of thinking. But because you're thinking they're not going to get up, they're going to be so tired, they have to go to school, because if they don't go to school, then you get into trouble, and then you get a fine, and then the school doesn't understand you're religious. They will give you, like, I remember when I asked for Ashura off, they didn't even authorise it. They had said to me, you can take it off because your children have good attendance, but it will be an unauthorised absence, which I was fine to take. But they wouldn't even authorise that. They said they would give me one religious holiday, which would be Eid. So it's almost like, well, I'll either choose Eid or I choose Ashura. So then which one do I choose? Do you see what I mean? And a lot of parents have this issue.
So I think here, one, remember that God is there. Okay, so I think that's really, really powerful to remember. Secondly, although you didn't tell your children this is why you were doing it, guaranteed it will sort of, they will figure it out, when maybe not now, but when they're a little bit older. So recognizing that is really, really important. Thirdly, what's the worst case scenario? Okay, so they get unauthorized, and the school picks up on it, and they have a go at you and they fine you. You know what? Okay, I'll pay the fine if that's what it takes, as long as they get to go. You think about what they get from going to the majlis. It's like you're told that whenever the Masaiba of Imam Hussein is being recited, Bibi Fatima alayhi salam is there. Imagine my child's soul, which is a pure soul because it's a child. Bibi Fatima alayhi salam's soul will connect to my child's soul. It may not connect to my soul because my soul is corrupted, but my child's soul is so pure, it's so, you know, it's so beautiful. It's like, why would it not connect to my child's soul? And the benefit of my child's soul being connected to Bibi Fatima alayhi salam's soul, that will help my child for the rest of their life. isn't it worth me paying whatever the fine is? I don't know what the fine is, but whatever the fine is. Do you see? And again, explaining it to my school and showing them, I'm sorry, but there is no way I'm not going to do this. And you know what? And also recognizing that children are very resilient. Yes, they'll play up, and yes, they'll be cranky, and yes, it'll be difficult, but they can cope. And it's, again, knowing that I'm putting my child through a little bit of hardship, but for a greater good.
Yeah, no,
as a mother,
understand.
it's like, oh, my child's, you know, upset and it's crying and it's not fair on my child. But you know what? What they're getting from in the spiritual realm, which I cannot see, is so much more powerful. And recognizing that is really, really important. So I think we've got to understand that there is a spiritual realm that we really are not aware of, and understanding how that spiritual realm plays, and the effect of these majalises and the morning of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and attending, you know, the majalises and things like that, and you know, connecting to Imam Hussein with my baby being born in this month. All of these things have such a huge effect on the spiritual realm, that I need to actually understand that and believe in that, and then leave it up to God, sort of thing, to sort of, you know, help me figure it out. Because I feel like as parents, we really take care of our children in the material world, and we should. I'm not saying we shouldn't, of course we should. But sometimes it's at the expense of the spiritual world. And
yeah,
I think we
fall
need
into
to,
that trap sometimes.
Yeah. And it's not even that we're doing it on purpose. It's,
No.
you know, it's like it's the good parents that are doing it because they're trying to be decent and good parents.
Yeah.
But it's just that reminder that, you know what, just like you're taking care of your child's physical needs, you need to take care of your child's spiritual needs. And this is how you take care of your child's spiritual needs.
Yeah,
It's really important to recognise
So
these things.
with Muharram, there are many majalis throughout the day, through the night. You don't have to take them to every single one,
No.
do you? So, for
No.
example, with there being daytime majalis, and you can
go to
take
the
them,
daytime ones,
you
go
know,
to an afternoon one, whatever. It's just actually just one, taking them to majalis where the Masahib of Imam Hussein will be there, will be recited. So getting them connected to the Masahib of Imam Hussein is really, really important. Knowing that when the Masahib of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is being recited, Bibi Fatima alayhi salam will be there. So that's really, really important. And again, getting them to recognise that. So as they're entering whichever majalis you're going to, get them to say salam to Bibi Fatima as they enter. Because they can look, Bibi Fatima alayhi salam is going to be here. You know, a lot of the times our kids play up and everything, and we tell them off and we tell them, look, everyone's looking at you. Imagine how powerful it would be. Look, Bibi Fatima's looking at you.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
that
it's
sort of
true.
concept. You know, things like that, little things like that, because making them recognise that these personalities are still alive in their hearts, are still part of their lives. They may not be physically present, but they're present in the spiritual realm, and they have a huge effect on their spirituality.
Yeah.
It's really, really important.
It's true, and I guess it's kind of making sure they have the best of both worlds, and organising it and making sure that it's the balance between. And I think a lot of the time as well, as a parent, you always think about your comfortability as well.
Which is fair enough.
I must say,
Which
when I had just had a newborn baby, like this viewer is in Muharram, I wouldn't go to a majalis because I would find that I'm in too much pain.
Yeah.
You know.
So I think it's important to recognise that although you're trying to get a balance between, you know, the secular realm, the secular world, and the spiritual realm and everything, if I was to forfeit one, it would be the physical and the secular world.
Of course, yeah.
And recognising that and being okay with that. But also, I think it's important to recognise as well that, you know, like you said, you know, this mother, once she's given birth, she will be in a lot of pain, and it'll be difficult for her to go to the majalis and things. And that's okay, because she's not doing it because she can't be bothered. She's not doing it because there's a reason for her not to do it. So that's really, really important. But also recognising that ibadah is, part of the ibadah is ensuring that your children are brought up in the best possible way. So a lot of the times the mothers will not go to majalis because they'll say, well, I don't get to listen to any of the majlis anyway. I don't get to hear any of it because I'm trying to take care of my child.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if you don't get anything out of it. By you taking your child with the intention that your child is going to the majalis of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, they are benefiting, you are benefiting. That is part of your ibadah. A lot of the times mothers will say, I don't have time to do extra du'as and extra you know, mustahab salahs and or extra ziyaras and things like that. Again, this is ibadah as well. Spending time with your children and actually bringing them up to be the Ansar of the Mahdi is your ibadah, it's your jihad. And as long as you're doing that, then that is as good as doing a mustahab salah and a mustahab dua and things like that, if not better.
To be honest with you, you know, a lot of parents who have newborns or maybe a couple months old and other children, whenever, because I was very similar, and I would know some people who would be in the similar situation as me, whenever we would go to Majalis, it's not so much our children, it's about the people that are around that are not happy with our children crying. Children are children, they cry. And so I think that personally put me off, and many parents, from to go to Majalis. And I thought, you know what, I can just watch it on the TV, it's live. I have my newborn with me, it's more convenient. I'm not disturbing anyone else's worship. So I think that also comes, you feel guilty that you are affecting other people listening to the lectures.
But isn't that really sad that we are a community where we don't just include everyone?
It is.
I think that's really sad, and I think if I'm one of these people who is making someone else feel uncomfortable, then I need to think about how is that the concept of unity in Ummah. And I think it's really important. And I think for the other person, like for you as a mother, to think, oh, I don't want to disturb anyone else's. No, that's their journey, not yours. As long as you're doing whatever you can to try to make it as easy for everyone else around you. And like you're saying, children will cry.
Yeah.
And if you're connected to Allah, you shouldn't really hear that child crying. It shouldn't bother you. And if it does, then that's your problem.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And I think it shouldn't stop you as a mother going, because you're not doing it. If you're allowing your child to run around and do whatever they want, then yes, there's a problem there, because you're not taking into consideration that there are other people in the room and that are being affected by your child's messing around. And there has to be some sort of, you know, way of you know, sort of you trying to keep your child under control to a certain extent. Obviously, you can't get them to sit all the time, but there must be some sort of behaviour management.
Okay.
And you need to take that into consideration. But I don't think you should not go because it's easier or because you're feeling bad for other people. I don't think that's right.
Okay. But thank you so much for those questions, and inshallah, hopefully that's helped this viewer and also a lot of mothers out there who may be considering going to Majalis with babies, and that, like you had said, in a way it's a blessing, and you shouldn't see it in a negative way, and inshallah hopefully you benefit from the month of Muharram with your new baby, inshallah, to come. Anyway, we're going to end there because I think we've covered that, so thank you so much, Masuma Jaffar, again, and thank you for joining us again. Do please send in any of your questions, your queries, worries that you may have. Maybe something that you're too embarrassed to ask, you know, as a friend or a family. We will put it forward to Masuma and try to answer it for you. Inshallah, hopefully we'll see you again for another episode of Dear Masuma. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.